WXII 12 News at 10 on the Triad CW starts now.
9 months ago, a Winston-Salem man was shot to death right here in Greensboro. His killer still hasn't been found. Why his friends and family say they can't believe this happened to him.
Chaos outside a Triad courtroom where a man faces charges in a triple murder. We'll take you inside his first court appearance. Plus,
wow, that was a lot more debris than I was expecting.
12 investigates why thousands of cigarette packs remain in the Ararat River, the danger it's posing, and how you can help.
thanks for joining us on this Monday night. I'm Kenny Beck.
And I'm Talitha Vickers. Tonight, family and friends of a 28-year-old who was shot to death last year really are desperate for some answers.
And they're trying something new in hopes of getting them as quickly as possible. Christopher Young is from Winston-Salem, but was killed in the city of Greensboro. That's where we find our Brandon Bates live tonight as the reward for information leading to an arrest in this case continues to climb. Brandon.
Yeah, good evening to both of you. Now, live in front of the Greensboro Police Department, detectives have been working for 9 months to try to figure out who exactly killed Christopher Young. This was last year in October when this all happened. And like you said, the reward for any information leading to an arrest has skyrocketed. Thanks to anonymous donors, the reward for that information is up to $25,000. Now, if you remember, Young was found with a gunshot wound at the Sedgefield Square apartment complex right here in Greensboro. The 28-year-old was a graduate of North Carolina A&T State. He worked at BB&T. One of his mentors says that he can't believe this happened to him, and the family echoes that message as well.
We know someone saw this, and that person or people would come and go to the authorities and tell them what they know.
He says that Young had a promising future. He loved basketball and he loved to mentor younger kids as well. Again, the reward for any information leading to an arrest is up to $25,000. If you know anything, you can report a tip anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in Greensboro, Brandon Bates, WXII 12 News.
They're caught in every eddy, every dead ball. They're on logs. They're all lining the riverbanks, washed up. They're everywhere. So there's thousands of them. Thousands.
Tonight, 12 investigates why thousands of cigarette packs are still floating in the Ararat River more than a week after a tractor trailer crashed on Highway 52.
It's pretty gross. The wreck caused more than $1 million worth of tobacco products to spill into Tom's Creek. Ever since, about 25 people with Ultimate Towing out of Mad Airy have spent just about their entire day kayaking through the water, struggling but doing the best they can to clean up all this mess before they spread on down the river.
Working from dusk until dawn each day, the owner tells us that crews have already hauled out a couple hundred trash bags filled with cigarette packs until the work is done. People like Bradley Doyle say they are concerned about the long-term effects of the spill.
You know, it's going to have an impact on the wildlife. You know, that's what I go down there for. I like to be in wildlife, have the natural experience, and it's gone. You know, you're swimming in an ashtray. So it's very sad.
The riverkeeper says right now he's working with Ultimate Towing on their cleanup efforts. They're planning a volunteer float tomorrow in Surry County to try to speed up this process.
Emotional moments inside the Alamance County Courthouse this afternoon. 26-year-old Haquan Park faced a judge today for the murders of 3 people he knew. Family and friends say that the victims were childhood friends with Park. Those victims are 27-year-old Kasim Peterson, who just got married 3 months ago and leaves behind a child as well. 26-year-old Jason Williams, who leaves behind a young child, and his cousin, 18-year-old Tyrone Nelson, who's also a father. Williams and Nelson were cousins. The shooting happened around 8 last night inside of an apartment on Perry Circle in Burlington, where family and friends say all 4 men were at an apartment playing video games before the shooting. Marcelle Peterson, the widow of one of the suspects, talked with us after an emotional day in court.
Just gotta take it day by day. Just for me and my kids and my family, we just gotta take everything day by day, and hopefully we'll heal over this.
Police say one of the victim's girlfriends and her mother were inside the apartment at the time, but no one was hurt. A 911 tip led officers to quickly make an arrest. Investigators still do not have a clear motive for the shooting. Today, a judge revoked 26-year-old Hyquan Parks' $3 million bail. He's now being held without bond.
No one will face charges after a deadly stabbing in Asheboro that happened over the weekend. Police say the man who died was actually in the process of assaulting someone else inside a home on Dinah Road yesterday. The sheriff's office there says Lindsay Coble had been told multiple times to leave that home. Detectives say Coble did leave, but later broke in through a window. Someone inside the house stabbed Coble, according to police, in self-defense. Coble died at the hospital. And in Guilford County, a man is behind bars tonight under $500,000 bond, accused of firing a shotgun at a deputy's cruiser. This happened just before midnight on Alliance Church Road. David Hilton was arrested and charged with a number of crimes, including assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and armed to the terror of the people.
Still no word yet on what caused a house fire in Greensboro tonight. Crews were called out to Merritt Drive at Fraser Road this evening for a fire there. That's not too far from Sedgefield Elementary School, where firefighters tell us the fire was in the front of the home and the attic when they first arrived. It is unclear if anyone was home during the fire, but investigators say no one was hurt. The All-American Gate at Fort Bragg is back open tonight after a suspicious package prompted an investigation this afternoon, where military police say a man drove up right to the gate in a pickup truck and security sensors alerted officers to potential explosives. Tonight, Fort Bragg officials say the vehicle and a locked container inside were inspected and no explosives were found, but the driver was still detained. Police say he didn't have proper ID and gave several fake names when the investigation began.
New tonight, 19 more arrests, 95 more charges from Phase 2 of Operation Endgame. That was the name of the plan the Yadkin County Sheriff's Office gave to its most recent drug bust operation. Folks with the Sheriff's Office are going undercover, or had been, targeting drug dealers after investigations. During the entire month of June, nearly 24 people aged 17 to 48 are now charged. We have a full list of all their names and all the charges on WXII12.com right now. Too many of them to list on TV. Back in May, 35 arrests were made with 199 charges in the first stage of Operation Endgame. The sheriff in Yadkin County says you can expect to see Phase 3 and you can expect to see more arrests and charges in the weeks ahead.
Topping headlines from Capitol Hill, President Donald Trump says that he's making progress in nuclear disarmament talks with two nations. And the president says this historic moment at the Korean demilitarized zone is a symbolic message that he's crossing borders to negotiate with world leaders. After returning from his surprise meeting with Kim Jong-un, President Trump says that he's invited the North Korean leader to the White House. It is not clear when that meeting may happen. In the meantime, the nuclear deal with Iran is also in focus. Tehran has broken a nuclear fuel stockpile limit set by the 2015 nuclear deal. The president pulled out of that deal last year. Now both Iran and North Korea are facing crippling economic sanctions from the U.S. if a new nuclear weapon deal is not reached.
And while the president started his holiday week abroad, some lawmakers are now using the 4th of July recess to visit the U.S.-Mexican border.
Yeah, even though members from both parties are part of this visit, Camila Bernal explains explains that does not mean an agreement on immigration reform has been reached.
Lawmakers on Monday taking the immigration fight from the Capitol to the U.S.-Mexico border. Members of the Hispanic caucus visiting facilities in West Texas and describing the condition of migrants held there.
One of the women said that she was told by an agent to drink water out of the toilet.
I will never forget the image of being in a cell and seeing 15 women, tears coming down their faces.
But hundreds of miles away in McAllen, Texas, Senator Ted Cruz painting a very different picture after visiting another facility.
You ought to have people in humane detention, and you ought to expedite asylum proceedings so that you can have legal proceedings, and those people who do not meet the legal standards for asylum should be returned to their homes as quickly as possible.
His solution, a stricter enforcement of the law and stopping the release of migrants after intake at Border Patrol facilities.
Not encouraging illegal immigration. We know that works because we've seen it work.
But Democrats disagree.
We need a system that works, that is humane, and that is compassionate, and that keeps families together.
I'm Camila Burnell reporting.
A federal judge is ordering U.S. Customs and Border Protection to let health experts inside some of those detention facilities that are currently holding migrant children. The judge wants to ensure that the facilities are, quote, safe and sanitary as required by law. Lawyers argue that visits to Texas facilities found children without basic hygiene products and also sleeping on floors at the same time. This evening, a short time ago, President Trump signed a bill that ensures $4.6 billion to address this migrant crisis at the southern border. The White House says that money will be used for a number of things, humanitarian assistance as well as security.
Transportation leaders are working really hard to make your 4th of July travel as trouble-free as possible. DOT is suspending most major road construction projects across the state. Crews will reopen closed lanes Wednesday morning through the Friday evening commute. Well, experts remind you to stay safe by leaving early, staying alert, being patient, and always avoiding distracted driving. Transportation leaders are bracing for heavy traffic as families travel for the holiday weekend.
Still to come tonight at 10 o'clock. Nobody wants to be the victim of a crime, especially while they're out of town. Everybody secures their house, locks their doors, but it's something that you're doing or not doing with your phone that could cause the biggest potential security threat. We'll explore.
We had a hot day out there today, but not as hot as it was over the weekend, and we were storm-free. That's not going to last. We're going to talk about a hot, humid, stormy forecast coming up.